The House Transportation, Mobility, and Infrastructure Committee will come to order. Will the clerk please take attendance?
Chair Shannon.
Present.
Representatives McDonald. Here. Conlon.
Here.
Farhat.
Here.
Fitzgerald.
Here.
Hoskins.
Here.
Miller. Yes. Hersberg.
Here.
Outman.
Here.
Roth.
Here.
Bruck.
Present.
Koontz.
Here.
St. Germain. Here. Mr. Chair, you have 13 members present. You do have a quorum.
I need a motion to adopt the minutes from our last meeting on June 4th. Representative Koontz makes that motion. Seeing no opposition, the minutes are adopted. Today on the agenda, we will be voting out Senate Bill 706, 799, and 501, and then taking testimony on House Bills 5717, 5732, and 5779. We will quickly take the votes before testimony. So first up is Senate Bill 706. I need a motion to adopt the H1 substitute to SB 706. Representative Fitzgerald makes that motion. Would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
On the motion to adopt the H1 substitute, Chair Shannon.
Yes.
Representatives McDonald.
Yes.
Conlon.
Yes.
Farhat.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Hoskins.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hersberg.
Yes.
Outman.
Yes.
Roth.
Yes.
Bruck.
So. Yes.
Koontz.
Yes.
St. Germain.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 13 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass.
The H1 substitute is adopted. I need a motion to report Senate Bill 706 is reported with recommendation as substitute H1. Representative Hersberg makes that motion. Would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Shannon.
Yes.
Representatives McDonald.
Yes.
Conlon.
Yes.
Farhat.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Hoskins.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hersberg.
Yes.
Outman.
Yes.
Roth.
Yes.
Bruck.
Yay.
Koontz.
Pass.
St. Germain.
Pass.
Mr. Chair, you have 11 yeas, 0 nays, 2 pass.
Senate Bill 706 as substitute H1 is reported with recommendation. Next up is Senate Bill 799. I need a motion to report Senate Bill 799 with recommendation. Representative Miller makes that motion. Would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Shannon.
Yes.
Representatives McDonald.
Yes.
Conlon.
Yes.
Farhat.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Hoskins.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hersberg.
Yes.
Outman.
Yes.
Roth.
Yes.
Bruck.
Yay.
Koontz.
Pass.
St. Germain.
Pass.
Mr. Chair, you have 11 yeas, 0 nays, 2 pass.
Senate Bill 799 is reported with recommendation. Next up is Senate Bill 501. I need a motion to report Senate Bill 501 with recommendation. Do I have a card to read in first? Mike Spence, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, does not wish to speak, supports the bill. I need a motion to report Senate Bill 501 with recommendation. Representative Farhat makes that motion. Would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Shannon.
Yes.
Representatives McDonald.
Yes.
Conlon.
Yes.
Farhat.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Hoskins.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hersberg.
Yes.
Outman.
Pass.
Roth.
Yes.
Bruck.
Pass.
Koontz.
Yes.
St. Germain.
Pass.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas, 0 nays, 3 pass.
Senate Bill 501 is reported with recommendation. Now, the votes are over. Next up, we'll be taking up House Bill 5717 for testimony. Here today, we have Representative O'Neill, and joining him is Sergeant Travis R. Fletcher from Michigan State Police. If you want to join us at the table here. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of this distinguished committee. Representative Amos O'Neill, representing the 94th District in this area of Saginaw County. I'm here today to speak about a public servant who dedicated his life to serving others. State Trooper Joe Popp honorably served his community as a member of the Michigan State Police. Joel was loved by his many family members and friends, including his wife Stephanie and the young daughter Emmeline, and we do have a special guest with the family today as well. Wave, everybody can see you. Okay. He was tragically killed in the line of duty, Mr. Chair, in January when he was struck by a vehicle while investigating a possible impaired driver. Mr. Chair, in honor of his memory, I have introduced House Bill 5717. This bill will allow a portion of Highway I-75 in Saginaw County, beginning at Willard Road and extending north to Riverview Road, to be known as the Trooper Joe E. Popp Memorial Highway. As his memory lives on through the lives he's touched, this memorial will forever enshrine his service to our community and honor his sacrifice. Mr. Chair and members of the committee, I urge yes vote in favor of this legislation, and thank you for the opportunity to present to this committee. Thank you.
Sergeant, would you like to add some comments?
Please, just a moment.
Yep, of course.
Good morning, Chair Shannon, Vice Chair McDonald. I would like to just take a moment to talk about the legacy that Trooper Popp leaves behind. Of course, on January of this year, the 24th, he was involved in an incident that essentially meant the ultimate sacrifice, losing his life in the line of duty. So we can talk about the incident, and of course, we'll never want to forget that and the sacrifice that he paid for all of us and the great members of this state. But I do want to talk about some of the things that kind of made him special just as an individual. He joined the state police a little bit later on in his career. He had a very successful career in the private sector. He did not leave that until he was about 35 years old. He decided that it was time for him to do something else to give back to his community and to the people of Michigan. So at age 35, he left his private sector job and he decided to join recruit school with the Michigan State Police. After graduating the recruit school, he was assigned to our Tri-City post where he worked there. He was later assigned to our Secure Cities partnership detail in Saginaw. So he worked each day, working primarily inside the city limits of Saginaw. And every person you talk to, and I know, every time a situation like this happens, it always comes up like he was the greatest person, he never got in trouble. And when we look back at, the detail that he was assigned to, working in a very sometimes volatile environment, we never had concerns about, the job that he was doing, never had complaints. He did his job the way that we expect troopers to do their job. At home, Trooper Popp was a loving father, of course, a husband to his wife. Him and his wife also wanted to give back to the community in other ways, so they served as foster parents. His wife continuing to do so, giving us our special guest this morning. So again, so many things that we could say about Trooper Popp and the legacy that he leaves behind for anyone that knows him. But of course, I think enacting this legislation would allow us to ensure that his legacy lives for years into the future. So again, I urge you guys to vote yes and request that you vote yes on this legislation, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sergeant. I really appreciate you giving us some background information on Trooper Popp. I want to also say thank you so much for our guests today for joining us. And we are going to go ahead and vote this bill today. So I need a motion. Oops, I'm sorry. I do have a couple questions. Apologies. First of all, Representative Bruck.
Thank you, Chair Shannon. Thank you, Rep. O'Neill, for being here, and we appreciate you guys being here and for the story you told and for the sacrifice of Trooper Popp as well. My question would be, have you raised the funding for the road sign, or what's your plans on doing that?
Absolutely. So the funds for this signage have already been committed. So all we are waiting for is passage of the bill, and we'll be able to make sure that the signs are erected.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Representative Fitzgerald.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Representative O'Neill, thank you very much for bringing forward this legislation. I don't think that there's a member of this committee who probably didn't read, even on the night of the 24th, what had happened in the news, or on the morning of the 25th. It's still very fresh, I think, to the state, to Officer or to Trooper Popp's colleagues, and to his family too. But I think that there's a recognition that there is no time to waste to honor and commemorate his memory in service to the state, and to enshrine that in such a, in some ways, modest way in doing so, so that the people of Saginaw County and the people of Michigan who travel on this road will know the sacrifice that Trooper Popp gave to the state and his care to not only his community but to his family, who has joined us here today. And I just thank you for being here as well. And just understand that we are all here in support of you as well. So if you, it is a very emotional topic when we have these bills come before us, because it is not just a highway naming. It is someone's memory and a truly an embodiment of what it means to be a great Michigander. So thank you very much for bringing this bill forward, and I wanted to share those thoughts before closure of today's committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Fitzgerald. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Very thoughtful. So I need, any other questions? I need a motion to report House Bill 5717 with recommendation. Representative Fitzgerald makes that motion. Would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Shannon.
Yes.
Representatives McDonald,
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Farhat,
Yes.
Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Hoskins,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hersberg,
Yes.
Outman,
Yes.
Roth,
Yes.
Bruck,
Yay.
Kuntz,
Yes.
St. Germain.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 13 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass.
House Bill 5717 is reported with recommendation. Thank you so much, Representative. Thank you so much, Sergeant. I thought it was 716. Okay. I did miss a vote, so make sure that, sorry about that. Representative Farhat, this is the last vote, so you're good. Next up is Senate Bill 716. I need a motion to report Senate Bill 716 with recommendation. Representative Hoskins Fitzgerald makes that motion. I thought you were giving me your attention. I need a, sorry, would the clerk please take a roll call vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Shannon.
Yes.
Representatives McDonald.
Yes.
Conlon.
Yes.
Farhat.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Hoskins.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Hersberg.
Yes.
Outman.
Yes.
Roth.
Yes.
Bruck.
Yay.
Kuntz.
Yes.
St. Germain.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 13 yeas, 0 nays, 0 pass.
Sorry, Senate Bill 716 is reported with recommendation. Okay, I told you I was going to go off the rails here a little bit because I'm moving some things around here. Okay, so next up we have House Bill 5779. Representative Churches, would you and your guests like to join us at the table here? And if you could announce their names, or if they could announce their names for the record, that'd be great. Oh, actually, I do have them. Representative Churches is joined by Grosse Ile Township Supervisor Jim Budney and Manager Derek Thiel and Treasurer David Nadeau. Did I get those names right? Okay, great. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Shannon and members of the Transportation Committee for hearing out House Bill 5779. I am here today representing a township in my community, Grosse Ile. I represent one of the few island communities in our state. Grosse Ile has 2 bridges, and we call the county bridge the Free Bridge, and we call the privately owned bridge by Mr. Smoke owns the privately owned bridge, and we call it, if you live there, you call it the pay bridge. Some people call it the toll. And historically, the Free Bridge has been under construction. I remember when I was in college, it was closed for over a year, and you would have to take and pay for the toll bridge every day to leave the island. And it poses traffic congestion and also a public health issue, because if you can't get off the island, you can't get to a hospital if there's a case of an emergency. So this bill that we're bringing forth today is because of movement in our community. The private resident, Mr. Smoke, is putting his bridge up for sale, and the township of Grosse Ile has been offered the opportunity to purchase the bridge. And basically, this would make an amendment to the law to allow for the powers and duties by allowing the township to purchase and operate this bridge, continue to use it as a toll bridge, and use the toll to maintain the infrastructure and operations of the bridge. So I have the leaders of my community, and I'm going to have Mr. Budney, Supervisor Budney, speak.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Shannon, House Transportation Committee, for allowing us to testify today on House Bill 5779. I'm going to be somewhat redundant with what Representative Churches said. Grosse Ile is an island, only 2 bridges to get on and off. We're a community of about 10,700 people. Mostly residential, a few businesses. One of the bridges is, as was said, is owned by the county and is under constant repair. I talk to them almost weekly to find out where we are on that bridge. When one of the bridges goes down, the other one takes all of the community's traffic, and it's normally been the free bridge that has gone down and the toll bridge, which is privately owned, a little smaller bridge, doesn't have the same weight restrictions, load restrictions as the free bridge. They get all of the traffic. Being a privately owned bridge, information as to what shape that bridge is in, what they're going to do with it, their load restrictions, which they change. We have no knowledge of that when that happens, and we're the ones that get all the questions, if you will, when a bridge is down, and don't have any of the answers, much like any political organization. That, of course, impairs our residents as to their ability to get on and off the island, to go to work, to go to school, events, and of course has a real impact on our emergency, getting people to hospitals. Groseal has no hospital. We have to take them off the island to get there. House Bill 5779 would allow us to purchase the toll bridge from the private owner, and in fact, we are in negotiations right now to do that as we were approached about it. Under this legislation, we'd be able to enforce the toll and have control over that, and also obviously have better knowledge of the shape that the bridge is in. We do believe if this legislation is passed, that leaving it a toll bridge would provide us enough revenue to handle all the parts of that bridge, the daily operation, the maintenance, further capital improvements, and to pay for our debt that we would incur in purchasing the bridge. So one of the biggest points for us is we wouldn't have to go to our residents for a dime to take care of this, and yet it would be a big asset for the community itself. Our residents, businesses, and commuters traveling on and off the island would be able to actually know what's going on with the bridge if we owned it, and we would be able to make decisions on the bridge. For instance, when we took office in 2020, 3 days before we took office, the free bridge was shut down. It was down for over a year. And so that was one of the first big things they had to deal with. And it was difficult because the other bridge, although they share information, they don't share all the information, and a lot of questions couldn't be answered by us, yet they do look to us for that. House Bill 5779 would be a game changer for us. It would allow us to own and operate the bridge and ensure that our community has safe, reliable infrastructure to travel on and off the island. We'd like to certainly thank Representative Churches, Senator Camilleri, our senator, for working on this legislation. Again, I want to thank the committee for listening to us today. And if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to try and answer them.
I think we'll get through everybody's testimony, and then if we have questions from the committee members, we'll just have those taken up at that time.
Okay.
I think Supervisor Budney is covered all the salient points. We want to, one of our primary goals is to avoid any increase in the taxes for our residents. We feel that the usage of the bridge, those that use the bridge, both oncoming to the island and outgoing traffic, that those folks would bear the brunt of the finances behind this. And but we are currently diligently looking at the state of the bridge. Although it's passed its state inspections, an inspection to satisfy a state mandate isn't the same as the inspection that you might do to actually purchase something. So we're undergoing, in the process of undergoing our own inspection of the bridge, and the same with the finances. We're looking at several different options for financing the bridge, which does not include taxes to the citizens. Those that use it should pay for the bridge, and we need the backup if, in fact, that county bridge, the free bridge, does have additional repairs. If it's down for an extended period of time, there has to be an alternative to leave the island and to egress onto the island. And that's my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chair and the committee members.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing us to come to you today and speak on behalf of the township. Appreciate your willingness to give us the time. I would agree with everything that the representative has mentioned, the supervisor and the treasurer. I would just add that this is a tremendous opportunity for Groseal Township. The owner approached Groseal Township because I think he has a good understanding that the best individual or organization to own this bridge is the township, because we're directly connected to the residents' needs, and we can operate it in a way that has their interests at the forefront. This is critical infrastructure. It's critical to the life, safety, security of our residents. It's a lifeline to the mainland when specifically the Wayne County bridge is down. Without this bridge, we wouldn't have the ability to bring goods, fuel, medicine, trash service, just the basic needs for human life on and off the island, and the ability to make sure that we have the control to be able to support all of those things for our residents, I think is very important, and it goes to the core of what local government is intended for, to make sure that our residents can enjoy and be safe within their own community. So once again, thank you for your time. Appreciate your interest in this bill and your support in this bill.
Well, thank you so much for your testimony. So far, I do have one question. Representative Bruck.
Thank you, Chair Shannon. Thank you, Representative Churches, for being here, and gentlemen for being here to testify. So I have a lot of experience with the bridges at Groseal, driving over them, and yes, the free bridge is constantly under repair. It seems especially the last 5 years, it seems has been very, very bad as far as the amount of time it's closed. So we kind of established that fact. There's two bridges. Free bridges constantly having issues, and that's owned by the county. The toll bridge, which is owned by a private company, seems to keep themselves in good working order. So my question is, I guess I have a couple of questions regarding the public service facility and ownership by a township. Two questions. Why doesn't Wayne County purchase it, which they could? And then are there any other places in Michigan where townships have this type of facilities that they own? And then secondly, because I don't think that this fact has been established by any of the testimonies, how can you guys run it better? I know when the free bridge is down, you depend on the toll bridge, but there's very few instances I can remember where the toll bridge was down for an extended period of time, and the Free Bridge, you know, was the only bridge across into the island. So how can you as a township, do you have that capability to operate and maintain the bridge as well as the private owner that owns it right now?
Well, our Representative Brooke is it?
Brock, yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I believe the last time the toll bridge was down for any extended time was when a freighter hit it. So it's been, and thank goodness it's been quite a few years since that happened. We are, one of the reasons we're doing the deep dive, doing our due diligence, is to replicate we want to replicate what the private owner has done, because he has kept his bridge in good working order. One of the problems, though, is the load limit on that bridge, and he keeps it pretty low, which of course helps it last longer. One of the things that we certainly are looking at is actually to up the load limit so that we can get our goods and services over. That needs to be done. We do think in looking through this, and we don't have our final reports from our financial analysts or our engineers, and one of the things that'll guide us as to whether we want to purchase this or not is can we do that, and will that toll bridge generate the funds so that we can keep it in that type of shape. That's one thing I want to emphasize, and it's more for us than it is for you, is that we do not want the residents of Groseal having to pay any extra taxes for this. And we believe, we do believe that it'll generate enough in tolls, as it has in the past, for us to take care of all those things. Running it, we want to look into having a professional run it. It's not something that I believe, we could take a couple of our guys out of DPS or something and put them in. We are going to look at a professional contractor to run the bridge, as we do with our wastewater treatment plant.
Are there any other facilities like this owned by townships in the state?
As far as I know, we are unique in this position.
And so part of your process. So you guys are in conversations with the bridge owner currently, but you need this bill to move forward with those conversations. Essentially,
we do. We do need to know that if we were to go to him and say, yeah, we'll buy your bridge, that we could actually run the bridge. And that's why we're here to do this.
And if I might add, Representative, we are currently operating under an exclusivity agreement with the current owner. He's not entertaining any other offers for this bridge. And your question about Wayne County, personally, I don't think Wayne County would be interested. They have their own bridge.
No, and actually, I mean, I have talked to Wayne County about that, and they are definitely not interested in buying another bridge. And we also were working under an confidentiality agreement right now as the negotiations go on, so there isn't a lot we can say to you about the details of that.
I just thank you very much. I'm just trying to figure out how you owning the toll bridge would help, alleviate congestion. The problem child really is that Free Bridge, and correct. Thank you.
Yeah, so a lot of the construction can be done at unique times. I know the toll bridge especially does construction while people are sleeping, and that could be something that the township considers. I don't think the county does construction at night, and there's different times of day. And I know that the township has a unique accountability to its residents, and they have a certain drive and enthusiasm to make sure that this is successful and to find unique solutions and kind of create a board of individuals who are able to run this. And they really are excited, and just having our local government be in charge of something that directly impacts our community, and be able to answer to the community instead of have it privately owned. They will be able to communicate in real time. And this goes everywhere from when the bridge is closed, like working with our superintendents, because we have vocational kids trying to get off island to go to school. Kroger is a grocery store. So being able to work with our businesses, with our education facilities and things like that, they're right there. We're in close contact. So I think even though Wayne County has, they're working very hard to create the free bridge to be safe. The free bridge is a bridge that was constructed in the 1800s, and now we're seeing deteriorating infrastructure at a new time. And sometimes they have a lot of responsibilities. So because the township has less responsibilities than the county, they're able to tailor their services more strategically than I think a bigger entity would be able to.
Thank you, Rep. Churches.
A quick question from me. How much is the toll?
$350 under like a frequent buyer card and $450 with cash.
And do you see that increasing, or is your goal to keep it as is?
Our goal would be to keep it as it is. Obviously, any change in toll would only be because of expenses. We're not looking to make a lot of money off of our residents, but we do want to have enough money to maintain that bridge in very, very good shape.
Did you want to add something?
No.
Okay. All right. I have Representative Roth up next. Nope. Okay. Representative Kuntz.
Mr. Chair, Representative, esteemed guests, without violating your non-disclosure agreement, can you share the sale price of the bridge?
I cannot. We cannot do that at this time.
What we can tell you is that we have a bevy of professionals that are reviewing the finances of the bridge currently, proposed purchase prices, capital improvement needs, maintenance needs, operation costs, to make sure that the township, at a specific purchase price, can incur that debt while still operating the bridge, and is about as seamless of a transition, but as far as the tolls are concerned, as possible.
I would add to that, if one of the ways we think we're going to finance the purchase would be by selling bonds, and we will be going to our residents who will have to approve our sale of the bonds.
Right. And Mr. Chair, if I may, can I get a 1-minute history of how did we end up with a private bridge? Can I get? Is there a Reader's Digest answer?
I don't know. I don't know. And please chime in if I'm off. The bridge was started and has been in the same family. This gentleman that owns it now is a descendant of the people that actually built the bridge originally, and it started out as it was a horse and cart bridge, and then as the automotives came, they turned it into an automotive bridge. And Groseal back in the 20s, 30s was mainly farming, and was actually a vacation spot for people from Detroit to come get away from the downtown Detroit, and they would go to Groseal, and it was summer homes. From there, I would say actually like the late 40s, early 50s is when it started to become a residential, and it is. It is a residential community. We have a 1 mile strip of various stores being your barber shop. The Kroger's is the largest thing on the island. Barber shop, a couple of restaurants. I mean, it's small town community businesses. Nothing big is on the island. We do have a Commerce Park that has some other private businesses, but nothing really large. So we are basically just a residential community.
Any other questions from committee members?
Yes, please.
Representative Miller.
Thank you. Thank you, Rep. Churches, for bringing this legislation forward. I have a few questions. So could you share a little bit about the current condition of the bridge? Would the bridge be inspected yearly or every 5 years? And what is the estimate on the revenue? And would you keep that same penalty as well? I know it's $525, which is pretty steep. Would you keep that for violations? And has MTA weighed in on this? That's it.
That's all there is. I'm sorry, could you repeat your question?
Okay, let's start with the first one. Has MTA weighed in on this? Did they give any opinion? Michigan Township Association?
No.
Okay, thank you. And can you give us, some kind of indication, any kind of feedback on the current condition of the bridge? And how often would you inspect that?
We currently we are going through an in-depth inspection as part of our purchasing.
There after
that, now that bridge, as a privately owned bridge, the owner could do his inspections whenever he wanted to. As of last year, the state passed a bill where he had to have it inspected according to MDOT on a yearly basis.
Depending upon the inspection, it varies. So underwater, above water, but yes, to the supervisor's point, he was required starting last year to comply with the state mandates and their schedules. Groseal Township would be no different than that. We would have to comply with those as well, and that would be the intent, obviously. That would be what we would do, obviously.
I would say, and Wayne County never gets kudos for their bridge, but much like what Wayne County is doing, they're inspecting their bridge more often than they have to now, and we would do the same based on the condition of the bridge. I mean, the idea is that is going to be an A1 bridge. It's our residents that are going over that bridge, and we want it in perfect condition.
And can you also speak to the penalty? Would it still be the same going forward for violators? I know it's $525 right now. Would that continue?
So with it being a private bridge, the bridge owner sets the rules and regulations basically for its operation. He determines the load capacities. He determines the fines. He determines a lot of things associated with that bridge. The only thing really he can't determine is when it opens and closes, because that's under Coast Guard jurisdiction. Groseal Township then would have control over all the things that he has current control over. I don't think that there is any intention to keep fines consistent with what he currently has, because I know we have heard from many of the residents about the overbearing nature of those. Obviously, he's protecting his interest. We will obviously want to protect our interest, but with what the community wants, which is the benefit to owning this bridge. We are held to what the residents want through obviously the local government process and representative government. So that is one of the large benefits we see of this, that the residents actually will have control of this in many different facets as compared to its current control structure.
And can you speak to the revenue? I thought I heard you say there was a millage or a bond on this bridge.
No,
and no.
No. What we're trying to stay away from is any millage. We pretty much are looking at this if what we find from the revenue in going through the books, it's not enough to maintain the bridge, and that we would have to go to the residents, we probably wouldn't do it. We want this we believe it can be a self-sustaining operation. We are one of the ways we may fund the purchase of the bridge is through the sale of bonds, but the revenue of the bridge would pay those bonds off. It wouldn't be the residents.
So I think that you said that you were going to put it to your voters to decide whether.
And selling those bonds will go to the voters, whether to do it or not. I will say that when this got out to the public that we were looking into this, it has been all favorable. They are very much in favor of us purchasing the bridge.
Well, any other questions? I think everybody, thank you so much for your testimony today. Really, really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the committee will go at ease.
The House Transportation, Mobility, and Infrastructure Committee will come to order. Next up with the House Bill 5732, we have Representative Shannon, and joining him today is Neil D'Souza from the Michigan Department of Technology, Management, and Budget, and joining him is the Director of Michigan's Public Safety Communication System, Bradley Stoddard. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Madam Chair, and members of the committee for having me here today to discuss this bill, House Bill 5732. House Bill 5732 grants the Michigan Public Safety Communication System authority to use drones for their site inspection of radio communication sites. Under the purview of the Department of Technology, Management, and Budget, the State Public Safety Communication System oversees more than 300 radio sites statewide, some of which soar up to 500 feet in height. Radio communication sites are critical communication infrastructure as they are used to facilitate two-way emergency communication between state, local, federal, and private responders. Currently, team members are required to undertake physically demanding climbs for each inspection of these towers and sites. House Bill 5732 would grant the Michigan Public Safety Communication System authority to use drones for these site inspections. Drone inspections will greatly reduce the risk to team members who would otherwise be climbing these large towers. Additionally, this legislation would streamline the inspection process, reducing the time typically required for completion. Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members, for the time today. I'll turn it over to Mr. D'Souza and Mr. Stoddard.
Thanks, Chair Shannon. Appreciate you sponsoring this bill, and thank you, committee members, for having us here. We're eager to talk about the bill. This is a good bill that sort of allows us to improve on public safety, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet and just turn to Brad, who's going to give an overview of the public safety communication system. He's going to talk a little bit about the history and the problem that this bill solves. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair and committee members, for the opportunity this morning. Just a few things I'll cover. Overview of Michigan's Public Safety Communication System. The Office of Michigan's Public Safety Communication System is housed within DTMB's Center for Shared Solutions. The MPSCS is a statewide emergency communications critical infrastructure system used to facilitate two-way emergency communications between state, local, federal, tribal, and private first responders. Just a basic technology overview. The voice communications with our system is digital, and the system is able to communicate from state line to the northern tip of the Keweenaw Peninsula. Interoperability is day-to-day communications, and it also includes planned events such as the NFL draft, college game days, festivals and parades, and NASCAR races across the state. Where unplanned events span from the Mother Nature events such as the tornadoes in most recently in Kalamazoo and Livonia, and recently the actual tornado strike in Kalamazoo was a direct strike on one of our tower sites there. If you weren't aware, it was I think 1 mile an hour shy of an F3 tornado, so limited impact on our tower site. And also the floods in Midland, to some of the other unplanned events that happened right here in our local community, such as the MSU shooting, where agencies responded from all around the state.
Just brief history on the Michigan Public Safety Communications System and a bit of history in Michigan that you may not have been aware of. But public safety communications was actually identified in the city of Detroit in 1928. And that's when it first was defined as mobile radio. City of Detroit was the first to dispatch patrol cars via radio at that time. In the 1980s, the Michigan State Police Committee recommended a radio system be established to replace this MSP statewide system constructed during the midpoint of World War II. In the 1990s, the state of Michigan invested in statewide radio infrastructure for first responders, initially just for the Michigan State Police. The scope was then expanded to serve needs for all other state agencies, such as Department of Natural Resources and Michigan Department of Transportation, as well as all three branches of government. In the 2000s, early 2000s, the legislature directed the Michigan State Police and DTMB, formerly DIT, to increase interoperability with local public safety following the 9/11 attack in 2001 and make available the MPSCS for all first responders in the state. The MPSCS is a nationally and internationally recognized leader in land mobile radio emergency communications. We're the first in the nation to build a statewide standards-based public safety communication system, of which 43 states and many large regional systems would follow Michigan's model. We are recognized as one of the largest trunk communication systems in the world, serving 2,239 agencies, over 344 towers, 127 911 centers, and over 148,000 radios across all 83 counties in the state. Thus, it leads us into the problem. The average height of the MPSCS towers averages about 500 feet. To put it in perspective, that would be the roadway on the Mackinac Bridge to the water line is roughly about 500 feet. Currently, team members of the MPSCS must physically climb to inspect each tower and site. This bill would grant the Office of the MPSCS authority to use unmanned aerial vehicle, commonly referred as drones, for site and tower inspections. The use of drones for inspections will allow the MPSCS team to leverage technology to reduce climbing risks, increase efficiency in determining tower and site work that would be needed. Efficiency improvements, since an MPSCS staff member can utilize a drone for quicker assessment of tower damage, is identified in the most recent damage or the impact of the tornado in Kalamazoo. This allows us also efficiency and preventative maintenance when fewer staff members are available in determining how many staff may be required to address repairs around unscheduled and scheduled work. We can deploy a drone quicker than a team of our tower crew to climb that tower. This such example of the use of drones for the MPSCS technology is no different than the current legal use by MDOT for bridge inspections today. So our intent is to do much the same, work smarter with new tools that would be accessible to us. So we thank you for the opportunity to consider this change and the opportunity to be in front of you today, committee members.
Thank you very much for your testimony. We do have a couple questions. Representative Roth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Chair, I think drones would be very beneficial in a lot of different ways, no doubt about that. The only question I have, and you guys know better than I do, so that's why I'm asking the question, is actual tower structure. I could see where inspecting by drone more often would be easier. Do you think there'd ever be a case where the drone couldn't pick up maybe some manufacture or some kind of deterioration to a tower that maybe once every 10 years we climb that tower anyway? I mean, that you guys know better than I do. I just don't know what they can pick up, if that'd be enough on the towers.
Yeah, great question, Representative. I probably want to clarify, this is not replacing us still climbing towers. It just gives us the opportunity on normal preventative maintenance to utilize one individual can utilize a drone, do an inspection of what is needed for then repairs or other, preventative maintenance on the tower, whether it was from a tornado strike in that example or just a normal planned efforts. We do have a very rigorous schedule around identification of any issues of the tower, whether it be up on the tower or at the ground, the base of the tower. So our intent isn't to replace humans with the technology, it's to augment humans with technology to help us do that work.
Very, very good. And I would never climb one of those towers. I'm scared of heights, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Representative Brock, you have a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Chair Shannon. I was a lineman, so I got to climb a lot of poles a few years back, and the transmission poles get pretty high too, and it'd be nice to have a drone to look at things. So current law keeps you from using a drone. Is that, can you contract out for people to use drones currently, or?
Yeah, the law as it's written today does not provide us the legal authority to utilize drones as government employees on those sites. We have talked to some companies around those efforts. Some companies just strictly do a site inspection or a cataloging of that. It's not really a response type of solution. So that's where we had taken the approach, again, modeling it after other agencies that have been using it. I think MDOT's had legal authority since 2018, 2019, somewhere around there, to do the same thing. So that way we can utilize the staff to do much of that in lieu of potential fiscal impact of hiring a company to do that effort.
Roger that. Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty elementary to allow your employees. Would there be any, I guess there'd be a lot of cost savings in the time, even though you'd probably have to have additional employees that run the drones and that, I'm assuming you did that.
Our intention is utilize existing employees that are on the towers to train them in the FAA certification for drone licensing. So in lieu of bringing on a new staff, it's existing staff. They already know what they would expect to see on the tower if they were up there via the cameras. So we don't anticipate any new staffing costs as far as new employees in that effort. Probably our only cost would be the cost of drones, maintaining drones, and the licensing, so they would pass the
But
test.
I'm sure you would make that up in time saved, certainly.
Exactly, and we actually noticed that through annually we have to do a safety event, safety training for all of the tower crew, and that was one of them that was identified as one of the crew members climbed to the top, believed the antenna was maybe loose in a bracket, climbed to the top thinking it was as a simple bracket adjustment. By the time he actually got to the top, the bracket was broken. So instead of a one-man job, it turned into a three-man job. In that example, fortunately, everyone was there, but in the event only one person was there, it's now a return to that site with the tools. So that's our intent, is to try to get in front of this, to create some efficiency with the technology in lieu of, not that I'm suggesting it was inefficient in the past, it was just the only way that we had the legal authority to do that.
Roger that. Catch up with MDOT's technology then too. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And Representative Conlon has a question.
Hi, I just have a question because we got money. I think 1.5 million went last year to the emergency alert system. It's because that had to be upgraded for our some 285 radio and TV stations that deliver messages. Does this help with that?
It doesn't. The Michigan Public Safety Communication System and the solution that is part of the alert and warning solutions out there are two different solutions. But at least as part of our day job, we work closely with the state's governance body, which also includes alert and warning. So we do work hand in glove with that group, even though they're completely two different solutions. Yeah, thank you.
And Representative Miller has a question.
Thank you. So what is the cost savings here by using the drones?
What we believe is the cost savings is probably in manpower. In lieu of sending, an example I provided earlier, two individuals to a site to do an inspection. Because of MIOSHA, it requires two people to be on site, one to be on the tower, one from a safety mechanism. Now we're able to do some of that preventative maintenance work, site inspection work, with one individual at the site in lieu of two. So the intent, what we have, is where we would have normally traditionally sent two to do a site inspection or preventative effort. Now we can essentially split them up into multiple sites. Yep.
If we have no more questions, thank you all. Thank you very much for your testimony, and the committee will go at ease.
The House Transportation, Mobility, and Infrastructure Committee will come to order. All right, seeing no absent members and there being no further business before the committee will stand adjourned.